It's NFL Week 18. It's finally here. The playoffs are coming up next week, and I'm here with Photo Ron. How are you doing, Photo Ron?
Photo Ron is doing okay. No pain right now. I want to publicly thank Cris for working with me so that we could put on an Week 18 show, because Week 18 is always very interesting um, from a viewer standpoint and from a handicapping standpoint. So thanks for working with the schedule. And this is always a great diversion to be talking sports.
Yeah, we talked about it the last time we were on the air, which was Week 16, going into Week 16. That it's is a different year because there's not as much up in the air as previous years, so it feels awfully anticlimactic this year.
Yeah, it's not as many permutations and everything else. Remember last year, I think it was week 14, I laid out exactly what I would be doing on week 18 and a week 14 show. And I think that went 23-1. And there's absolutely no chance that will be replicated now.
Well, what can we do? We normally we'll have an abbreviated show because there's not much to dissect from week 17, really. But we should at least glance at it. Was there anything in week 17 that you wanted to go take a look back on?
Well, I enjoyed the week a lot. I won more than I wanted to because I wanted Philly to lose. So, my regret is that Buffalo didn't have the 2-point conversion to beat Philly. The only surprise, if you want to look at surprises, the only surprise to me was that Green Bay didn't show up at home against Baltimore.
Jesus, it feels like a month ago those games were played.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was that was surprising. I'm happy. I got into a pickle on that Eagles Buffalo game, and I had to play a lot of Philadelphia in game. And I was happy they missed that 2-point conversion.
Yeah. You were happy they missed?
Yeah.
I mean, the parlay was real helpful for me, so I recouped a lot. But in the end, because they went to +3, and I tweeted that out, why is that game +3? I would have been much more satisfied if Philly had also lost the game.
Well, Happy New Year to you guys also. Thank you. I probably should have started it off that way, but I'm naturally antisocial, so I don't think about that stuff. I'm coming out of these last couple of weeks just frustrated. I don't even want to go into it, actually. And I have nothing else to say about week 17. I came out of Monday. The only thing I'll say is Monday night, I set myself up in a situation where I automatically made a fair amount of money, no matter who won the game, no matter who covered. And I still came out of the game thinking I was just miserable and frustrated and felt like I lost because I didn't protect the bubble I had created well enough. And I had plenty of chances to do it. So I'm just kicking myself. I've done so many things wrong this year. I guess that's a comment that I'd like to make. Just getting out of routine and habits and having so many things pulling at my time unexpectedly, and the disruptions just brutalizing me all year long. It's all on me, obviously, but just frustrated. I'm happy this year is going to end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I could say a few things about the Monday night game, but suffice to say that I had to maneuver because the Rams had, in my opinion, nothing to play for once Seattle and San Francisco won. And that line was just way too high. And I wish I would have really played that higher than I did. But I knew that situation, and I just, like you, I was a little distracted, and I just couldn't capitalize on it.
Yeah, timing. I've had the worst timing ever I can't remember. I'm missing most line moves, and I'm just everything's at the wrong time and the most inconvenient times. And, when things are working for you, it seems like you can't do anything wrong, and vice versa. It's ridiculous. So looking at this week, I'm not that enthusiastic about it. There's only so many games that mean anything. That's the one thing. There's just the last thing I want to see is a longer season based on the amount of injuries we have to deal with, and once you get useless games, it really makes it difficult to handicap. So I'm ruining the day they make an 18-game schedule.
Yeah. There's good and bad about timing of doing shows like this. Under a normal week 18, and this isn't normal because there's a little bit predictable, but you'd almost want to run a show on Monday because you want to get ahead of the action. But at the same time, you should probably run like a half a show because we're getting injury information by the minute now and who's sitting and who's not sitting. You almost have to wait till exactly this time on Friday to do justice to what the games are evolving into.
Yeah, that's true. I've decided that I don't need to rush out and hurry up and make decisions. It's better off to have missed something than to get stuck with something, as far as I'm concerned. So I've been trying to wait as long as possible, especially on this week. You just have to find out who's playing and what the last minute angles are. There's obviously hundreds of incentives involved with players, then that can affect certain situations. And I'm sure we'll talk about a couple of motivational issues and how important they're going to be.
Yeah, and that I sent you, what I wrote. I think it was Tuesday morning or something, Monday night, that I sent you what I wrote. And I don't write up all the incentives because some of them are worthless or everybody knows or this or that or whatever. Some of the incentives are not really incentives. I'd rather go on milestones. Give you an example. Last year, there were about 8 or 9 people that reached a sack milestone. 9.5 to 10 sacks or whatever the case may be, or fighting for the league lead and stuff like that. And an understated market, a market that maybe not everybody knows about, is you could take advantage more of the sack numbers than you can of receiving numbers or quarterback numbers. And I like that kind of analysis.
Yeah, well, you have less variance with that. It's a lot harder to get people the ball sometimes, especially when the opposing team knows you're trying to get them the ball too.
Correct. They overcompensate, and the odds makers know this stuff too.
Well, if Tampa Bay wins the division, that's going to be the second time that they win this division within recent years below 500. A marvelous division. Is Tampa lost 7 out of 8? I'm unsure. I believe they have, haven't they?
Yeah, I think that if it's not 7 out of 8, it's probably something like 6 of 7, somewhere like that.
And Carolina, Carolina is the team that people like to bet. And speaking about Tampa Bay, I remember maybe it was about week 5 or 6. We were talking about that they might very well be the best team in the conference. They were playing that well, and they were playing without their key players. They get their key players back, and they can't win. And I mentioned that to you in our brief chat. And Baker's just not himself. He's not doing Baker things anymore, and you seem to think he's a lot more injured than he's letting on. Correct?
Yes. And I agree with your statement about Tampa Bay being kind of a sleeper team while we were talking about Philly's good luck, good fortune at the beginning of the year, and people were buying into them. I thought Tampa was going to be just as good at that particular point. But at some point, the coaching, especially on the defensive end and the late touchdowns that they allowed and the early touchdowns to dig Baker a hole that he couldn't get out of every week, started really piling on. And so now we have Carolina and Tampa Bay, and Carolina is so Jekyll and Hyde. Sometimes they play well, sometimes not. And you mentioned the Stars not being in or being in. My feeling here is that Mike Evans is going to possibly take over this game. I mean, I mentioned this to you briefly. If I'm Tampa, I'm just feeding Mike Evans because he's a contested catch star.
Well, why haven't they been doing it to date?
Good question. But again, I have a problem with their coaching staff. I don't think the coaching staff should get another year, especially if they lose this game.
No, I don't think they should. I mean, they've been a joke, and they've caused them a lot of problems. And when you really look at Tampa, didn't they win their first 5 games by like 2 points or less, something ridiculous, or their final possession?
Yeah, I mean, this could have been even worse. This absolutely could have been worse. But that division is a joke in terms of the coaching staffs that are there, except for maybe the first guy. You know, Kellen Moore is promising at New Orleans, but the other guys, we know what they are all about as far as the coaching staff. I put the side-by-side stats up, Carolina and Tampa, and I don't see much of a difference.
Yeah, and we know Carolina has their struggles on the road. They seem to be, as you mentioned, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, even within the same game. I mean, they'll play a half looking like gangbusters, and then they'll be the Keystone Cops. It's how do you think a team has the dual personality like that within the same game so often?
Yeah. Yeah, and that makes this one a little bit harder to handicap because I sort of think that I like Tampa in this game, but I think I would only do money line because I don't trust them.
I'm a proponent of winning and losing is highly contagious, and
yeah,
and it's that's my concern with Tampa Bay. Frankly, is maybe they're just making it here on fumes as it is, and maybe they can't wait for the season to get over. Who knows? It's definitely an interesting matchup. This is the same line on the game when they played a couple of weeks ago, but Tampa was laying 3 on the road, correct?
Yes, 3 on the road.
So you're getting Tampa Bay at a little bit of a discount. There's 2.5s available, and there's cheap 3s.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
It's the early game. I don't know. I don't even know how many points that they'll score.
Yeah, I have no opinion on the over/under. Sometimes I have opinions on these things. I even don't think I have any quarter. I mean, this is a game obviously both teams want to win, so you don't have any hidden quarter, half, that kind of stuff. Who's trying, who's not. We know they're both trying.
I think I heard a good trend on the first half the first half home team in this situation. And I think it moved just recently. It's still -1.5, but the money line moved.
Oh, okay. Probably better on those to look at the money line.
Yeah, you can still find there's 135 in the marketplace, but it's mainly 145 to 150 now.
In must-win games like this, do teams tighten up a little and go a little close to the vest, though, at the beginning, even though in Week 18 they all know each other because it's always divisional game?
Seattle, San Francisco, that's awfully amusing. We watched San Francisco waste a roster spot, having a punter on the field for a month, and they finally used him last week out of pity. But you look at these last several San Francisco games, they've been absolutely unstoppable. But unfortunately, the defense has been a turnstile to opposing offenses also. So kind of reminds you a little bit about how Dallas was looking with the, great offense, horrible defense. How bad is this defense?
Well, we're going to find out if they baked Sam Darnold into interceptions or Sam Darnold just has too many open guys to hit. I have projected Darnold to go something like 22 of 33 in this game. So if that's 11 incompletions, his hope is that there are 11 incompletions and not including interceptions.
I played the over interception prop on Purdy.
Interesting, and not a bad look. What kind of odds did you get? Pick 'em? 0?
It was minus a half, minus like 140, I think. And I noticed Darnold was only like minus 155, which I thought was, a little low.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Purdy gets streaky, and he was streaky good on Monday. And Seattle has we both know Seattle has a good defense.
Well, I think they're going to get Kittle back. How effective he's going to be, I don't know.
City, who's here, Happy New Year and thanks. Like CMC over 67.5. That's a tough one for me because I think he's going to get a lot of carries, and he's been doing better of late. But that Seattle run defense is one of the best in the NFL.
Well, the one thing that's noticeable is you've got one-way action. It's Seattle. It's up to 2.5 now, almost right across the entire board. So I don't know that you noticed that line moved, but
I did because I checked it out. And +3 would be value San Francisco. It would be a power play San Francisco. And I hope it doesn't go to 3 because I prefer really not having action on the game. I sort of lean Seattle in this game.
Yeah, well, it's you've got to proceed with caution when you see all one-way action, especially on the road team like this.
Yeah, I know they played well on the road, but they haven't played well in the series. So that's interesting. But San Francisco, we've talked about this. They are the worst team in terms of sacks in the NFL. So clean pocket for Darnold.
Yeah, Purdy's going to have his hands full. That's why, he's going to get himself in some difficult situations. And the over interceptions just seemed, especially with how well he's been playing, because these guys can't play that well. But, also Purdy's been racking up and San Francisco's been racking up all these points and all these great offensive results against, some of the worst defenses in the league too.
Yeah, that fourth place schedule has really helped. I think I'll look into that interception prop because I do think Seattle is going to try to take McCaffrey out of the game a little bit.
I've heard advocating for the over and the under on this game.
Yeah, let's see. Where am I on that? I was surprised the line. I mean, maybe it's weather related because we've had West Coast weather, but I was surprised the line was that low, to be honest, for the over.
Actually, Birdie turned me on to that interception prop. I forgot about that. So we'll give him credit on that.
Okay.
I forgot about that. So looking forward to that game. That's going to be that's going to be a darn tootin' good game, I would think. Seattle plays better on the road. San Francisco's on fire. Seattle just seems to have these games that they're just squeaking by. They haven't always, and they've been starting off these first halves horribly. We should look into that more.
Yeah,
these first half for Seattle. I know that I bet on them in teasers recently a few times, and at the half, it's like you're sweating it.
Yeah, let's see. Seattle. I haven't had action for or against Seattle in a long time. Interesting. I've just kind of left it. Sometimes I leave alone the teams that are right at the top of my power rating list because I don't want to get in their way.
Well, I think the total opened at 49.5 to 50, and it's down to 47 to 48, depending on where you're shopping. I took some under 48.5.
Oh, I wrote it down wrong then. Oh, I see. I wrote it down wrong because I wrote down that it was around 44 and a half. And so, no. Now it's near my number. I see.
And Birdie's got a 53 up there. So he's probably on the over 47. Actually, the 47s are now gone. There were 47s, and they are all gone.
Yeah, let's see. Historically, they play high-end, low-scoring games at San Francisco, so it's a little too tough to tell. It'll be interesting to see what they want to do with Darnold. If I'm the Seattle coach, if I think he's throwing on good rhythm, he's not throwing high, he's not getting ahead of himself, then I'm going to emphasize the pass game. But if I see any signs of a problem, I'm going to try to make safer throws with him.
Don't they want to run it down their throat? I mean, they don't want to get into a shootout with San Francisco.
Well, it's a shootout they can win if Darnold's hot, because San Francisco's secondary and their pass rush is so bad. Trent Williams, how much is he worth to the total? I mean, San Francisco has their preset play calling. I think the biggest problem for Trent Williams is it hurts McCaffrey's running game, maybe not his passing game.
Like you said, does San Francisco stop the run well? They must, because their pass defense sucks, right?
Very average against the run, 4.3 per carry. Sam Darnold, I have 249. So I'm way too close to the number, so I'm not going to get involved in that one. I saw what Caleb Williams did with Chicago, and Sam Darnold's more accurate.
So Green Bay and Minnesota, that line's moved a ton. It was down to 6.5 or 6. It's up to 9.5. McCarthy's going to play. And Green Bay starting Joe Blow. Who's starting for Green Bay?
I think that is the answer.
Yep. So Green Bay has no reason to make effort. They're solid in their playoff spot. Minnesota's shooting to go over 500, so that gives them a little incentive.
Yeah. And they're playing well, so they're going to try. They like to beat divisional opponents.
I will not be placing a wager on that game. Will you?
I just can't, because they've already adjusted the line. I mean, the line is way out of whack, but I don't think Green Bay may be one of the 2 or 3 teams that's completely laying down this week. And so it's hard to get involved with them. I will say, if you have a book that has a first half line on Justin Jefferson, the wide receiver, I think they're going to feed him very early in this game.
Is this going to be his last game as a Viking?
I think that would really get the Minnesota Viking fan base infuriated. So, no, I don't think so.
Indianapolis and Houston. Houston has some incentive. They still have an outside shot at that division, but that would require Jacksonville to lose. And if Houston wins, they will sew up the 5 seed, I believe. Is that correct?
Yeah, so they're in competition, not so much with the Chargers as they are with the Buffalo Bills. So I think they're pretty much going to be the 5 seed if they win.
Yeah, I think they're locked in the 5 seed if they win the game and Jacksonville wins their game. And they're sitting Rivers and going with I forget what the kid's name is.
Riley Leonard starting, and Sauce Gardner was announced out as well at defensive back.
I think somebody else is out for the Colts also that was important.
Yeah,
I forget, but I would imagine in that rivalry, Indianapolis will make a valiant effort. I just don't think the valiant effort's going to cut it against this Houston defense.
So here's the first situation that I would look at as far as quarter lines or half lines. I don't think, if I'm Houston, again, I put myself into their huddle and stuff like that. The one thing I don't want to do if I'm Houston is lose the game. Let the game come to me, open it up if you have to, that kind of thing. So I would consider a first half or first quarter under for a little bit of a quieter game to start out with, especially with Riley Leonard at quarterback who doesn't stretch the field.
Well, you got FanDuel has a 20.5 under 35, which I'd rather have that than an under 19.5.
Yeah, no, 20 is too important.
Yeah, so
and these are field goal kicking teams.
And then if you're looking at like a Nico Collins or any star stats over in this week, you just have to be careful because these teams are going to sit players as early as they can, pretty much.
Now, running back Taylor is 47 yards behind Cook of Buffalo, who we don't know how long he'll play. So one of the things you could look at is that Taylor is going to be force-fed the ball to see if he could get the rushing title. And here's another alternative. So I always put things out here week 18 that I wouldn't normally put out. Usually you have will there be a score in the first 6 minutes of a game, first 6.5 or something. I would lean no score. I'm not for big money or anything like that. Lean no score first 6 minutes.
But they don't really have those I guess they do, don't they?
Yeah, every game has those. See if I can find one while we're talking.
I think Houston's a great 10-point teaser team.
Yeah, you're asking them to win the game, and they certainly want to win the game. No question about that. Let's see. What do we got? 7 minutes they're using. So they're ahead. That's an unusual number. Over under 7 minutes for that game.
Well, they might have different shops might have different times.
Yeah.
That's not going to be a standard.
Yeah, good point. Shop. Nico Collins. What did I put on Nico Collins? I didn't set a number on Nico Collins because it wasn't something on my radar.
But, it'd be really something if, Green Bay lays down this week and they really played like shit the week before. They're really backing into the playoffs.
Yeah, they're the 7th seed, so we know they're going to go to Chicago or to Philly.
Miami and New England. New England has an outside shot at the 1 seed. They can't fall from the 2 seed. They need Denver to lose later on, so they won't know the result.
What do you have the weather so far?
I don't know.
Teams that are out of the playoffs that are going through the motions don't want it to be snowing and 26 degrees.
That's a good point. My gosh, I have 160 tabs open. Temperature in the mid-20s, otherwise fine. there's no weather games. It's supposed to rain for the Tampa Bay game. Some rain.
I think the Pittsburgh-Baltimore game, the last one,
Seattle, San Francisco, some rain possible. Well, for Baltimore, Pittsburgh, it says temperature in the 20s, otherwise fine.
Okay. Some wind?
Didn't even reference that. Let me go to a different site.
I think I saw 12 to 15 mile an hour winds.
Likely rain, San Francisco. No wind in Cincinnati.
Interesting.
Slight chance of snow, 20 degrees, Buffalo. Likely rain for the Rams. You guys are getting a lot of rain in Los Angeles.
I know. We got some this morning over in Temecula.
2 mile an hour winds, 25 degrees for Steelers.
2 mile. Okay. So somebody's going to run New England against Miami because I think New England is just going to take it to them that way. That's an afternoon game. Is that right? Yeah.
Miami's been playing very, very well lately. I have to imagine they make full effort versus the Patriots based on the way they've been playing these games recently.
Yeah, it is an audition again for Quinn Ewers, who's trying to convince Miami he's their starting quarterback this year. Etienne will not be playing, so I think Miami is going to be very pass heavy in this game.
New England has been known to let some passing yards come by, huh?
Yeah. So, we'll see how Miami handles the cold, how Quinn Ewers handles. Let's see, who has he played? What teams has he faced? He's faced Cincinnati and Tampa. So I think you're going to get a better effort from New England's defense than he got from Cincinnati and Tampa. So they have a good backup, Miami and Wright, but he's been carrying 5 or 6 times a game. Now they're going to ask him to carry 12 to 15 times.
Well, New England doesn't really have to break their ass to win this game because there's not much likelihood Denver's going to lose. If things went south for New England, they could pack it in early, couldn't they?
Let's see. So you have New England and Jacksonville. So New England would be the 2 seed if they win. So
they're the 2 seed no matter what.
No, doesn't Jacksonville get the 2 seed if they win and New England loses?
I don't think so. I could be wrong, though.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure it makes that much of a difference. The Chargers are locked into the 7 seed, so who's ever the 2 seed, they're going to play the Chargers. But if I'm New England, I want the number 2 seed because then at they could end up hosting warmer weather Jacksonville in the second round of the playoffs.
Well, I guess they can be the 3 seed.
Yeah, I think New England's trying. I think that's Mike Vrabel's, DNA kind of thing anyway. And no, I agree with City. I wouldn't be surprised if Miami covers. I don't really have any desire to play this game. I was just trying to, if they could put out some sack props, I have a player that I want to bet because this Chasen needs a half a sack to get the $500,000 bonus.
Yeah, they've got to, actually, they do have to win. Otherwise, it'll be the 3 seed.
Right.
So,
if you want to attack a game in a different way, maybe if they get out to a big lead, you take the unders the rest of the game. You have to do a lot of in-game shopping week 18. They could sit on the ball if they led 10 or 14 nothing.
Kansas City, Las Vegas. Do we have to talk about that game?
Kansas City, Las Vegas. Let's see if I have anything of value to say in that game. I think Genty will be force-fed. Wide receiver Hollywood Brown, everybody knows he needs a TD for $750,000. As far as the game is concerned, I think KC's inflated. I know everybody's going to say the Raiders are tanking and this, that, and whatever. At this point, Kenny Pickett is better than Geno Smith.
What a mess there.
It's a mess, but do you like Kansas City's offense with the personnel they're trotting out on the field? Xavier Worthy will also be missing the game.
That under looks pretty tasty.
Yeah, let me see what I have here. I do lean under.
I don't know. Either of those teams are going to score.
Yeah, under normal circumstances, I wouldn't play Vegas, but because Kansas City's in such a weird position where, this has been a year they haven't had since 2013. So,
well, Kansas City really came to play last week, so they haven't rolled over to play dead.
What happened last week?
They played Denver, didn't they?
Yeah, they lost 16-13, but that's what we're looking at, another 16-13 game in this one.
Yeah, that's what I think.
If you like the under, your small saver bid is plus 250 special team or defensive TD.
I like that. That's a good one. Yeah.
I've always because you can risk just a little and you could save some of your money on an underplay.
That's a good call. Why haven't we heard that advice before that I can remember?
I give it every year, once a year.
Really?
Yep. Works a lot with backup quarterbacks.
We know Dan Campbell took the team to Green Bay when they had no hope of anything, and they knocked Green Bay out of the playoffs in the final game 2 years ago. And we know that supposedly his philosophy is, they're coming to play, but I'm not 100% convinced. I mean, he's saying all those things, but he's bringing they're going to be missing more linemen. Penei Sewell is out. I forget who else is out. They're missing, more key linemen. They don't know whether St. Brown's going to play. He's trending to play, but it's an odd game. Chicago, can they change their seeding? Aren't they pretty much locked in?
If Philly loses, Chicago is. If Philly loses, they're locked into the number 2 seed.
Okay, Bears 2 seed with a win or an Eagles loss.
Yeah. So there might be some scoreboard watching there. Chicago played Sunday night. Yeah. Detroit played about 10 days ago. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little weird what they're doing. I think Goff is saying all the right things. But
well, I don't think the Lions are going to lay down against Ben Johnson. So
that's true.
I think that would be the icing on the cake for just a humiliating season at this point, and I think they'd like to avoid that. Thinking about this,
as somebody who knows a lot about Jared Goff, what's your take on him playing in January in Chicago?
It's over. Well, it's going to be fine. There's going to be little wind. It's going to be, I think I saw around 30 or something.
Yeah. The commentary with Birdie and City. I just have a feeling that And this game is trending up. It went from 2.5 to 3, even 3 minus 115. I'd rather have Detroit than Chicago. It could be a slight letdown game for Chicago, although Ben Johnson wouldn't want it that way. And you never know about Caleb because he kind of improvises, so he can make some things happen.
I think both teams will be motivated. I think the team likes their coach. I think they'll want to stick it to Detroit if they can for Johnson. And I think the Lions are trying to, do the same thing. So,
yeah, I'd rather have the Lions, and probably will get involved, and definitely will get involved if we see a 3.5.
And I do think that they have enough incentive. The 2 and the 3 seed, there's enough difference that you want to make an effort there.
For Chicago, yeah. And, that Philly game, we haven't talked about that one yet. So when we get to it, we'll talk about it.
Okay, explain to me why in the world the Buffalo line went from 6.5 to 8. I can't figure out why Buffalo is even playing. Why do they not want to focus on going into the playoffs healthy? They're not going to get the 5 seed, and they're not going to get the 7 seed. I mean, unless the Chargers somehow, miraculously upset Denver, they're locked into 5 or 6, and Houston has to lose or Jacksonville have to lose. So it's just so unlikely that any effort is going to get them any benefit.
I'm looking for my timestamp here. We had a long time this morning where the line reached 9, Buffalo by 9. Because they said Josh Allen was a full go and so on and so forth. And I wrote, because I did some updates to what I sent you, I still don't believe Josh Allen will be used much in this game. Last year, he played 1 snap. So,
yeah, I don't get this at all. I mean, I not at all. I don't understand it.
So this is the afternoon game. I know we talked about that. If Jacksonville wins in the morning, I would be assuming the Chargers lose to Denver, and they're playing Trey Lance. So if the Jags win, Buffalo cannot be the number 5 seed.
Well, Houston has to win also.
Okay.
So the Jets are missing a lot of players. I know that, but we got to remind people that they're going to take some of these games, if not all the games, off the board as soon as the early games start. So if just be aware of that in case you're trying to put off betting a team, thinking it's going to be available.
I didn't hear anything about Breece Hall, so that's interesting. But here's how I would approach the game, or how I am approaching the game. Regardless of what the line is, I'm not looking to have more money on the Jets than on Buffalo. I'm really looking at this game as a middle opportunity. If I strongly believe that Josh Allen isn't going to play a lot, I'd rather take the Jets now and then get Buffalo later to try to create a middle. I don't really want the Jets because not for Cris, because I think you have him 30th, but the Jets are dead last in my power ratings at 32. And I just think they're a horrendous team right now. So I want to find a way to middle this game, or at least have an opportunity to middle this game.
Well, they want to get Cook his yards to lead the rushing title. So depending on where Taylor finishes, that's going to affect Buffalo's game plan too.
That's correct, unless they decide to sit him. So we really have to be on the ball with what's going on there. If Taylor puts up 100 yards, then Cook probably doesn't care. If Taylor puts up 52 yards, that's a different story.
I thought Cook was ahead of him.
Oh, yeah, Cook's up by 47. Okay, so let's look at it this way. If Taylor puts up 80 yards, Cook could play the first half and then sit.
Oh.
I don't think Cook plays the whole game. Bill's backup quarterback. Give me their names, Bertie. Is it McKee and Sam Howell? Am I on the right team there? I'm doing this from memory. Oh, Trubisky. Oh, I hate Trubisky. I would fade Trubisky in a second.
Yeah. I remember, was it last year or the year before I said whoever had him was, I think Chicago would be fine with him.
Oh, thanks, Jerry. Yeah, that's Philly's guys. Yeah, thanks. No, I do not like Trubisky.
Baltimore and Pittsburgh.
Oh, nice for Trubisky to actually play against the Jets, though. Yeah,
that
here's
line
a
is
real
just
game.
shot up to 4. Pittsburgh is going to be a popular underdog here because, and on the surface, I think you'd have to say, what the hell is Baltimore laying 4 here?
Yeah, let's see. My numbers.
And J.J. Watt, or whichever Watt it is going to play.
I could see a 3.5, even a 4 line based on my power numbers.
Not too many of those to find now.
But, this series, we had this discussion last time they played. I don't know really, other than swine flu hitting one of the teams, how you could ever take the dog. I mean, how you could ever take a favorite giving 3 or more in this series. It was proven the first time around. You cannot give 3 points in this series. It's like a 70% proposition.
Yeah, this is one of those series you blindly bet the dog traditionally.
Yeah. And, Metcalf, that's utter stupidity by DK Metcalf, because they would have beaten Cleveland and then they could have rested everybody in this game. Instead, regardless of what happens, Pittsburgh's going to be all out to try to win this game. And if they win this game, I don't know what they have left first round in the playoffs. Baltimore-Pittsburgh playing on week 18 is just death for these teams. Metcalf really cost them a lot.
Yeah, Bertie likes the over in this game.
No, I don't. Last 8 or 9 games have gone under, I think, at Pittsburgh. It's been crazy.
What did the first game between these two teams do?
I think that went over, but I mean, at Pittsburgh, it's been a different story. See if I can find.
Tomlin can finally finish with a winning year, huh?
Yeah. Last 5 games, Baltimore at Pittsburgh. 18-16, 17-10, 14-12, 20-19, 19-14. Underdog 3-2 straight up, 5-0 against the spread.
Jesus.
Whether you think that's going to happen or not, it's very tough to buck that.
Cleveland going for the sack title. Are they going to be able to sack Burrow? They should be able to, right?
Yeah. I mean, Burrow's aware of it. He's already commented on it. Let's see.
Cincinnati has certainly showed that they're trying to play hard. They love these end of the year runs.
Yeah, they're so great in December, and that's even when they're out of the playoffs.
I don't have an interest in that game.
Yeah. Are we looking at 7.5, right?
There are no 7s. It's 7.
No more 7s. Yeah. I have no interest in taking Cleveland in this game.
Dallas and the Giants. This game keeps coming down. You'd think a game like this is take the under, take the points blindly.
Yeah, when I texted you my thing, I said, well, this is the one thing I knew I was going to do with the Giants at +5. I was going to take the Giants at +5. So, hark, a really good move by me, because some of the moves lately I've been a little slow, like we discussed at the outset. So I like the +5. I'm comfortable with that. The Giants aren't the greatest team in the world. They actually play well last game at home, but that could be more of a fluke than anything else.
Well, we're rooting for Philadelphia to lose for our under 11.5.
Oh, yeah.
And that line's coming crashing down. The problem is Washington's missing 11 starters themselves, and they're on a third string quarterback. I forget who that guy's name is.
Josh Johnson.
Oh, but they had to literally get a backup for him off the street.
Yeah. I was surprised Josh Johnson looked so decisive last week. I didn't remember him as being that way, so maybe a pleasant surprise. The issue here is that I don't know whether Barkley's playing or not playing or whatever, but it seems like you can run on Washington. So it could be one of the shortened games where they get out of their 19-17, but I'm not sure if Washington could win the game.
Well, Barkley needs 87 all-purpose yards for $250K.
Yeah. Running backs, they want the money because they don't get paid that much anyway, although Barkley probably got paid around 11 to 13 million. Wide receiver Smith of Philly needs 44 yards to get 1,000. That's not widely being publicized, but you could see him in a first half kind of situation. Von Miller, 1 sack gets him $1 million.
Really? I didn't see that one.
Yep. So I would say he'd be highly incentivized.
New Orleans and Atlanta. Atlanta can play, both of these teams are playing well. So it's probably looking like a full effort on both of these teams this game.
I agree.
And I think Atlanta would love to play spoiler for Tampa Bay if Tampa Bay wins.
Uh-huh. So this is an unfortunate year for me. My season wins are at 7-3. That part isn't unfortunate. But I need New Orleans to lose because all of a sudden they went on that 4-game win streak, and I need Philly to lose still. So 7-3 could be 7-5. So last week I parlayed them together, and it worked beautifully at +290 or whatever it was. This week I'm going to parlay them together again. New Orleans pick'em to Philadelphia pick'em. Savor on my behalf.
Yeah, and they play 2 different times. So if the New Orleans end doesn't come through, you can still make a move later.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of it, because I like New Orleans anyway, because we've talked about this. Look back at the last game and stuff like that. New Orleans, Atlanta, same thing. If you get 3 or more points in the series, you got to take the dog. And I think New Orleans is a little more beat up. They're not going to play 2 or 3 guys. But I don't know how you get overly excited with Atlanta laying 3.5 points.
Yeah, that hook seems completely unnecessary, doesn't it?
Yeah, mine. It's a lot of this is done on power ratings. So if you look just at power ratings, 3.5 is logical. But if you look at historical stuff and Week 18 stuff and other things, so I understand the line, but I didn't set it there. My power rating said set it at 3.5, and I set it at a soft 3.
Yeah, I'm just surprised to see it at 3.5 all this time.
Yeah. And Bertie says he has Atlanta 1. So I have by power ratings 3.5, but this series does not go according to that. situation. So if I lose, like you said, if I lose the first leg of the parlay, it's all right because I liked New Orleans anyway.
So the Rams, this is a good. I played Stafford MVP plus 300 this week. I think he's got a 50-50 shot at it. What do you think?
I would say 60-40 shot. I know. You're left. Voters are always left with their last impression. What did they last see? Drake May throw 5 touchdowns. Matthew Stafford lost a game to Atlanta. So I understand the human element in all this junk, but I still think Stafford has Stafford ever won the MVP?
Didn't he win it last year?
Stafford won it last year?
Who won it last year? I thought he did.
I thought Josh Allen or somebody.
Oh, maybe it was. No, Josh Allen won it 2 years ago? Maybe.
Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, haven't they been dominating it?
If he's never won it, I could have sworn he won it last year or 2 years ago or something.
I'm saying. No, he's never won.
You got to be kidding me. I would have piled on more.
Yeah.
You got to be kidding me.
No, he's never won.
There's no way
I think it's 60-40 Stafford at this particular minute.
I could have sworn he's won one. That's the only reason I'm like, he's already won one. Wow.
Super Bowl MVP, maybe.
Wow.
Yeah.
My gosh. I would have bet a lot more too. I mean, I bet a fair amount actually.
Yeah, I mean, May is a worthy candidate, very worthy candidate. Strength of schedule favors the Rams. He's done it against tougher competition.
There's a lot of people that are trying to get May in there. Jesus. What's the best line we can find? Well, you can get plus 250 in a bunch of places.
So with that in mind, do you think that's the reason why Stafford might play this week? Because if Seattle beats San Francisco, that's one thing. But if San Francisco wins, the Rams aren't playing for anything.
Let me see here if I can find out. The Rams can only be 5 or 6.
Oh, Cup won the MVP, huh?
The
Rams are 6. I think the Rams are locked into 6.
Yeah. No, with a win and a San Francisco loss, they get the 5.
Right. But what if San Francisco beats Seattle? There's nothing to play for.
Right.
And that line moved up to 9. Devontae Adams might play.
Yeah, you know what? I think the Rams are a mature enough team where I would think Stafford wouldn't give a shit about the MVP, and I would think they'd want to sit players.
Yeah, so recency might favor Drake May, but I still think, and we don't know, I read this article. There's some weird collection of voters that vote on this, 50 voters. And, it's a human kind of element thing, so who knows?
Oops.
Drake May is such a heavy favorite.
there's just no way that those are the proper odds. Win or lose, it's a coin flip.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd have to be out of your mind to be laying like even minus 150 on May at this point, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't think you should weigh even money on either one of them then.
No, I wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't be interested in playing either one at like somewhere around 130 to 150. I wouldn't take either one of them.
Yeah. Yeah. That's very strange. I mean, if these are educated voters, they're going to take into account the entire body of work, not the last 2-3 weeks.
Well, I think it's going to be really hard not to vote for Stafford and voting, a second-year player.
I can envision Stafford playing against Arizona, coming out in the middle of the second quarter with 2 TDs.
Right. And I think that's enough.
I do too.
And even if I lost, I would feel like my money was well invested.
Yeah.
I feel like I got the best. I got in with a pretty darn good number.
Yeah. I understand that obviously Drake May's not playing the best of opponent too, but I think it's more important what Stafford does than what Drake May does.
Chargers are playing nobody. I would never lay 13 points with Denver under any circumstance.
Yeah, Chargers are not going to be able to run the ball, and they probably won't be able to pass the ball either. I don't know let's look at team total for the Chargers.
12.5.
First half team total.
First half?
Let's go both.
I don't have that one.
Okay, I'll find it.
Looks like it's going to be, no, I don't have it.
First half, 7.5. No, that's not it. I mean, you can give up a garbage touchdown at the end of the game, but 5.5 in the first half.
Wow.
They're thinking like I'm thinking.
I don't know. It's that's the thing when you're talking about Buffalo. I don't think there's a scary team in the AFC, and we chatted about it earlier. I don't think Buffalo's scared of any team, and if anything, the other reason why they have less interest in playing hard is they don't mind playing Jacksonville.
Right.
They'd rather go to Jacksonville than to go to Baltimore.
Oh, yeah. And I think, what am I looking up? I think the same thing. Both Baltimore and Buffalo say, just get me in and we'll take care of what we need to take care of.
Tennessee and Jacksonville, I think Jacksonville comes away with that victory.
So the line is 13.
13.5.
Yeah, so I think it could reach 14.
Yeah, it probably will.
Now, I researched because Jacksonville is one of those teams that I didn't want to get in the way of either. And I haven't had a bet on Jacksonville since November 2nd or something before that or whatever. But if the line went to 14, I'm going to go against them.
Titans announced somebody else is taking over some part of their operations.
Yeah.
How was that?
Yeah, they're restructuring their front office.
Yeah.
They ought to put dynamite on it and start over. But yeah, let's see. Jacksonville. What's this one? New Orleans. Oh, Tennessee played New Orleans. Oh, yeah, I did win that one. Yeah. So I would take 14.
Yeah, I mean, why any of these teams that have a playoff game next? You know, why does any team really want to play stars unless there's still incentives to chase down?
Yeah, let me look at that. While I was looking at all this stuff, City said, "What do I think of Trey Lance over 1.5 TD?" I don't know what the juice is on that, but I pretty much don't think Trey Lance is either going to get a rushing touchdown or if they score a passing touchdown, because I don't think any other Charger running back is going to stick it in the end zone.
Oh,
Let's see, incentives. No. Chargers Denver game. I'm just looking at ways to get involved with low scoring game. Bo Nix needs 210 yards to get 4,000. If Denver's up 17-3, I don't even know if Bo Nix isn't subbed out of the game.
you think that they would keep him in the game so he can get his 4,000?
Yeah. Well, I mean, right now they're keeping him in because they need to win. So
Yeah, but if it's
210 yards.
they're winning 17-0 at the half, and he's got 170 yards. You think he's coming out for the second half?
My gut feeling is that he stays in until he gets 211. So, yeah, there are some games that are going to be played like exhibition games, and typically those are lower scoring games, unless the teams like the Giants and Dallas, which start out with no defense, then you'd say, okay, well, they don't care. They're going to be 31-30 or something like that. But some of these other games, more likely to go under than over.
I'd be shocked if Josh Allen is worried about his incentives. I think his major incentive is to get the monkey off his back and get to the Super Bowl.
Agree completely.
He's got the fresh marriage. Life's good. He doesn't need money. I think that if that's not his priority, then there's a big problem.
Yeah. Some of these teams, I've seen this in the exhibition, and I've seen it in week 18. Buffalo didn't look that good against Philly. Philly didn't look against, Buffalo or whatever. You want to go out, score a touchdown or something like that, and leave on a great positive frame of mind, and then go out of the game.
Yeah.
It's just human nature.
That's all I got this week. You got anything else?
No, I know that I guess I'll be sticking by my computer a lot during the games because there's a lot of maneuvering to do. First, second half, some quarter plays. More things will be resolved as we learn more. And starting with tomorrow, San Francisco, Seattle is going to, I still think it's going to dictate what the Rams are going to be doing.
Yeah, it's an interesting spot because it's a shame that MVP race is up in the air.
Yeah, it's interesting. If you know that LA could get the 5th seed, that's all the more reason that Stafford could have a big day against Arizona. So if Stafford has to play because San Francisco loses to Seattle, I think that helps the MVP race for Stafford. San Francisco money line to Arizona points. That makes sense if you like San Francisco.
Yeah.
Good comments as usual in the chat.
Yeah, I would. If I like San Francisco, I'm going to try to maximize that with some Arizona action.
Yeah, it's interesting because Arizona's not very good, and the Jets are not very good. So you have to worry a little bit about hey, the other team's not trying, but we're not very good.
Yeah. All right. Well, good luck to everybody this week, and hopefully we'll be back on Wednesday again. We'll
Yeah,
play by ear.
played by ear. Hopefully Wednesday. I'm waving. Thanks everybody, and we'll enjoy this weekend.
Cheers.